to listening. So over the course of the last several years, I can say we've listened a lot, we've learned a lot, and we've acted on what we've listened and we've learned, and we continue to do so. More importantly, we're not finished listening and learning. We're picking up and continuing that tonight because we've got some big things that we want to do in our district, and we want to make sure that the community is with us, that the community is understanding the vision, and that you're supporting it as we go. So some ways that we listen are through focus groups. We have surveys that we do. We have opportunities like town halls like this. And we have staff internally. We have ways to meet with them through my articulation meetings, through our monthly board meetings. And you'll see those two colorful images there on the end. Those are what we call West Clermont Roadmap reports. Right now we're up to volume 3. You can find all of them on our web. And what they do is just kind of summarize and chronicle our journey so people can say where we've been and where we're going. Through listening to our community, we found that there are 5 challenges facing the West Clermont community that is important to everyone. And the top 2 issues for everyone, of course, were safety and well-being of students and staff, and then the second, educational programming. Then everything else kind of falls next. School district purpose and design, that might be a strange term to you, so we'll talk a little bit more about it later. Transportation, as well as facilities. So tonight we're going to try a different way of doing business, and you'll notice there's a map on the middle of your table. We will continue tonight as we talk about this map, talk about what's happening inside of West Clermont and really outside of West Clermont. We will be able to kind of put students at the center so that students are our focus tonight, and we will ask questions of what will it take to make sure that every single student can make it to that finish line, to that portrait of a graduate outcome, so that all students are successful. And we want to look at some realities. It's really hard for me to imagine for my own children. I have a senior in college and I have a freshman in college. It's hard to imagine that our kids and your kids will be having 15 or more jobs that they will have in their career. When we all grew up, it was very much important to get into a good company and stay there until you retire. Kids that are growing up with our kids' generation, it's not going to be like that. There's going to be multiple jobs that they have, lots of changing. And so that's going to mean lots of adapting and the ability to learn and relearn and unlearn and learn some more as a top skill. And this is different for us as educators, preparing kids for all kinds of jobs. Some jobs we know about, and some jobs we have no idea what they are or what they'll even look like in the future. This is what the data is telling us. There are 85 million jobs that will be obsolete by 2025. And then another 97 million new roles will emerge. And I have a picture up here of a drought because what we're experiencing across our country, really across the world, is a human drought. There's not enough people in the workforce to go into these new jobs. It doesn't mean that when these jobs are obsolete and disappear that there won't be work for people. It's just the work will be a higher level work. It'll be more challenging and more diverse than what we see today. And you've probably experienced this summer. The use of AI and how it is changing how we live, we work, and how we play. Using the internet will never be the same. We're kind of moving into Internet 3.0, and ChatGPT is a part of that. And what this really marks is that change from what we call the information age, where we were able to get access to a lot of information, to how we then use that information for experiences. So we're shifting into the experience kind of age. And what that is marked by is through artificial intelligence, AI, augmented reality, AR, Internet of Things, and then lots of advancements with mobile connectivity and social messaging. And what's really hard for all of us, and why it's important we come together, is that we've been so entrenched in a system, in a factory model that has existed for over 100 years, that it's very hard to wrap our brains around how the world is changing and then what that might mean for classrooms. What do classrooms of the future need to look like? What will students need, and how do we plan ahead? And all those, there's lots of things that we are curious about, we don't know and don't fully understand yet. There are some things that we do know. We know that the basic skills that we are teaching our kids are no longer enough to make them future ready. the 3 R's. It's just not enough. We have to go well beyond that with skills like communication and collaboration and critical thinking. And we know that the basic skills that we teach, even in the elementary schools, have to step it up a notch so that students are truly mastering the core, and then they're able to apply the skills and knowledge into new situations. And so that's why a few years ago, back in 2020, we worked together with our community and our families to define, well, what are these skills and mindsets and attributes that we want our students to have? And so we came together as a community and created what we call the Portrait of a Graduate. It's unique to West Clermont, it was locally developed, and it reflects the durable skills that our community feels like students need and that are valuable for everyone. We know that as we surveyed families and as we surveyed business leaders in our community, they said that academic and life skills are a top priority. Financial literacy was probably mentioned as one of the main things, and we can all see why that's important. Communication and collaboration, character and integrity, innovation and creative thinking, resiliency and adaptability. And the essence of what our Portrait of a Graduate is not about checking a box and rattling off a bunch of skill sets. It's really to prepare kids to create the lives that they desire, to define success in the way that they define success, to turn ideas into action, and to help our kids be courageous in the face of challenge, and to pursue personal happiness and joy, and to do what is right when no one is watching. And we know as we developed this that we had a lot of buy-in. Our parents, our students, our families, our community, everyone really bought into this. But what we know is for sure is that that parent can't make this happen alone. Parents have a lot on their plate. They're balancing all kinds of things, raising their children in the modern age, getting dinner on the table, getting from this activity to that activity, music lessons. We have a very hurry up and go lifestyle. We're always scrolling on our phones. We're very distracted. We want to be the best parents that we can be, and we're overwhelmed. We also know our community is going through a lot. It only takes 5 minutes to be driving around here to realize there's a lot of change going on in our community. Things are moving. We have workforce shortages. We have a looming depression that we keep, or recession that we keep hearing about, rising inflation in the economy, and just lots of change going on. And what we find in just everyday human interactions is that people's fuses are getting shorter and shorter. We often see frustration and anger come up. And so what we think about then is, what does this really mean for all of our students? How do we work together as a staff, as a parent community, as a business community to ensure that our kids get what they need so they can be successful and give back? Because we know today our students are different. They're growing up in a different world. They have access to instant information. They've grown up essentially with technology in their hands. There's a blur between the line of formal learning and informal learning. I remember my daughter specifically, when she learned how to ride a bike, I tried to teach her over and over and over, and I would work with her, and then she would get mad, and she would cry, and we would fight. And she eventually then watched a YouTube video. And so something about the YouTube video clicked with her, and then she was able to get on her bike. She did the same thing even at a younger age with tying her shoes. What I was doing wasn't working. That might say what kind of teacher I am, I guess, but it wasn't working. And so she went to YouTube, and even from a very young age, that's how she learned. And so the informal, formal learning has really changed. It's not always about seat time. It's about building competencies in creative ways. It's about game-based learning. And our students love to work together. And yet, at the same time, we know our students have a hard time with each other. There's a lot of conflict. There's high anxiety and high stress. This is what our students last year used to describe themselves. I had a group of high schoolers work with me. So just take a look at some of the words up there on the screen. And I just wonder if any of those words describe the 5th graders to 12th graders that live in your house, or you see in your neighborhood or in your community events. And then I'm going to just highlight some facts that we have about how teens are navigating the world right now. 57% of teenage girls in 2021 reported feeling persistently sad or hopeless, and that is up 36% from 2011. 29% of teen boys feel persistently sad or hopeless, up from 21% a decade ago. 30% of teenage girls have seriously considered suicide, and that is up from 19% in 2011. And 58% of teens with same-sex partners have seriously considered ending their life. So we are at a serious point with our youth that we can't be casual about. We can't sit back on the sidelines and just hope the school figures out or hope that the parents figure it out and that it all ends up okay. We've got to be intentional about our approach going forward and working together in ways we've never worked together. What I want to do with you now is just kind of share some data that helps take us back a little bit. How are things when we were growing up as kids, and then how have they drastically changed over the last couple of years? So these are interesting facts. The timeline is from 1998 to 2020, and they just kind of speak to how our world is changing, but sometimes we can't always put words to it, or we can't always nail down exactly what it is. We know that people are feeling more isolated, and one way to tell that the world is changing is how church membership has continued to decline. People are kind of keeping to themselves more, not getting involved in community programming and clubs and activities as they used to. What I'm going to share now is a series of things that are true about 12th graders. And this data goes from about 1976 to 2022, and you can see that everything that I share with you are things about teenagers that are associated with building independence, having risk behaviors, and kind of the risk-taking levels and just kind of things that people go through as a rite of passage or growing up. So the first is the decline in students getting their driver's license. The second I have for you is the decline of students trying alcohol. And again, I'm not here to judge or value any of this stuff, it's just to show how things are changing compared to when we grew up. Students who worked for money from 1976 to 2022. This shows the students and who's dated in that time. Our students are more collaborative, more group-oriented, and less one-on-one and dating kind of relationships. And then you can see as it's continued to change through 2022. So never before has it been more difficult to be a parent, and you're probably all feeling that. There is no rule book, there is no playbook for how to work with and raise a modern student. And these students are exposed to information and access to things that we never had access to, and yet their brains are not mature enough to handle all the inputs, all the information that they get. I mean, we can sit here today and know what's happening in every country of the world simultaneously. So you hear of the wars and all the bad stuff that's going, we can know about it everywhere. We were more isolated when we were growing up. We didn't have that kind of access to information to make us scared about the world. And as what we find in the research is that parents of our generation, the ones that are parenting now, have done everything they can to keep their kids safe. But that's been top priority for them because we grew up in an age of after Columbine. And so even just sending kids to school, that used to be just a normal, natural, you don't think much about it, is a worry for parents. We also have parents in the same time, we're in a generation of doing anything that we can to knock barriers away for our students. I'm going to give an extreme example, but you probably remember this from the news a couple years ago. There were people actually writing checks to the college board, ACT, so that kids could get into the college that they wanted them to get into. And so we will stop at nothing, we will knock down every barrier so our kids don't have to have any bumps along the way. So this extreme focus on safety and focus on doing anything that we can, writing a check for whatever we need just to make it happen for our kid and to eliminate any struggles along the way has its good things and it has its bad with it, just like any other generation. I'm not here to judge us or to say that there's something wrong with this. It's very different and it's challenges like we've never had before. Because we know our homes are different, our society is different, and our workplaces are different. These are some headlines that have been cropping up over the last couple years. And what we say is that the pandemic didn't really cause this, it just exponentially increased the pace and the severity and the intensity of all of this. The technology advances, the workforce shortages, And it's really a dizzying pace where I know we're all still saying, we just want to get our feet on the ground. We need, if we could just get back to normal. And that's what I keep just saying to the staff, like, this is the slowest the pace of change is ever going to be, is right now. It's not going to stop. There's some things that we talked about in the last town halls, and maybe some of these images stand out to you, but in our world we have smart homes, we have smart cars. Maybe some of you have NFTs. You're experiencing the Internet 3.0 in the metasphere. You're looking at our McDonald's. It started around here where there's a kiosk where you can go in and type in your order at McDonald's. And there's still a person at the counter if you want to go there. But as you go around the nation, that has evolved to there are no humans at the McDonald's. Everything is digital. If you pull up now, they say, do you want to use your app? Everything is about removing the human connection in that interaction and getting to a robotic McDonald's. Does it sound like I go to McDonald's a lot? I know. Well, it looks like it too, so we won't talk about that. Okay. The robots up here that you see, these are robots that are in the hotels. And if you need some extra towels, or if you need some drinks, or whatever you need, that robot knows to look at the elevator, to know if there's room for it on there, or if it's too crowded and wait for the next one. It knows if somebody is coming their way in the hallway so they can move to the right or to the left, they know exactly where they're going. And so I know when I took my son to Ohio State in his freshman year, there were little miniature robots like that delivering food. It was during COVID, during 2020, and there were little robots all over Ohio State delivering food to kids so they didn't have to leave their dorm rooms. And they stopped at the crosswalks just like the kids stopped at the crosswalks and obeyed all the traffic laws, and it was really kind of wild. So I'm sure you have a million other examples at your table, and I don't know if you know about all these things or even what you think about them, but I think it's important that we examine what's happening all around us and what does this mean for what should be happening in schools. Because we know we want West Clermont kids to have a competitive advantage. We want them to graduate ready to take on the world. And so I want to talk a little bit now about the classroom so you can get a sneak peek into, well, how are we doing? How are things going? As you know, classrooms are set up for groups of students who are all the same age to stay together all day and move in age cohorts, led by a single teacher standing in the classroom, looking at subject by subject and bell by bell going through their day. And although we have added technology to this, as an educator kind of workforce, we haven't necessarily learned exactly how to maximize and use the technology to its fullest. And it's this battle between, okay, everything is now digital and online, and at the same time we're beginning to read research that says kids should not be online for very long. They should not have screen time too much. And so what's the balance and what's the best thing to do? So we're still all learning and working through that. This gives you some data that we collected last year to show levels of engagement. We know that some kids are very engaged in our school system, and we know that some are very much not engaged and finding lack of purpose and not wanting to come to school and get out of bed. It's very hard for them. And I would say our teachers are probably never worked harder in their life to engage and be creative and to try to meet the needs of our modern learners. And we know we can do better, but at this point, we're kind of at an average. We're at a 3.8 out of a 5-point scale. So that's kind of where we are with engagement. Now, where are we with academics? I am very happy to report that West Clermont has, on the Ohio Department of Education rating system, we have moved from like a 3 kind of in the middle, which would be like a C in the past, to now the new rating system of 4 stars. So we have moved up a level, really showing and giving evidence to that all the things that we're putting into the system and the ways we're changing what we do in classrooms is making an impact. So I'm going to break it down just into a couple key grade levels so you can see where we've been. You'll have these cards on your table, and your cards will look a little bit differently because they have last year's information on them. I updated my cards for this presentation. So first and foremost, and this is probably one of our biggest challenges, is that when students come to West Clermont, about half of them are ready for kindergarten, according to the state assessment. Half of them. And what we know about data is that if you come in not ready for kindergarten, the likelihood of you staying not ready is very, very high. And it takes tremendous effort to turn that ship around. And if half of our students are coming in not ready, what is that meaning for the rest of the experience and what it takes to get to that finish line? So that's the first thing. Second thing is that third grade literacy. You see we have a goal of 80% or higher for all of our students, and you can tell that we, from 22 to 23, are moving in the right direction. We are making some huge strides. We're getting to pre-pandemic kinds of levels, and we know we can be better. But the key here is literacy at third grade. In 5th grade and 8th grade, you're seeing also that same trajectory where we have a goal of 80% or higher, and we took a little step back in 1 grade level, and I would say here in the 5th grade, these are the kiddos that have spent the most time in their early years in a COVID situation. They learned how to read during COVID, where their mouths were covered and the teachers couldn't see their lips when they were, enunciating words. And so I think that grade level in particular had some extra challenges when you think about the early pieces that they missed. The 8th grade students are also showing improvements, and sometimes when you look at the math score, you kind of go like, what's going on in math in 8th grade? But it doesn't tell the whole picture. A lot of the 8th grade students in math are in algebra, so their score doesn't count with the rest of the 8th graders and with the 9th graders, and we're in the algebra numbers. So it's not as terrible as it seems, but it's still not good enough. It's still not good enough for where we want to be. What we do know is that the more opportunities that students have to earn high school credits before they come to the high school, the better, because the more credits you have by that end of that freshman year, the more successful that we see that you are. So we want to continue to grow the amount of freshmen who've earned 5 credits or more in their senior year. And you can also see kind of the history of the graduation rate from 2019 to where we are today. We have a goal of 100%. We won't rest until we get there. And you can see how 2020 is a blip for us, because that was a year where there was a lot of allowances and creative ways to get people over the finish line because of the unique situations that we were in. Our student attendance is the thing that scares me the most, because what you're seeing, when you look at the data, when you get into the details, you're seeing, you might assume, you don't have transportation at the high school, probably all the issues is at the high school. And the truth is that's not true. The attendance at the high school and the attendance in the early elementary is about the same. And then when we provide busing in elementary and in middle school. And so we're seeing, and this is not just unique to West Clermont, this is happening all over Ohio, all over the nation. I'm actually serving on a Ohio Department of Education task force to look at what else can be done. Because what happened during COVID is a lot of families just decided, all your stuff is in Schoology, our learning management system, you can just get your stuff and we can go. We have families who have the flexibility with their work to go to Florida in the middle of the year, so sometimes they're just picking up and going to Florida to work in the middle of the year. And we lose that disconnect with families. So we've got streams like that, those differences that families are experiencing. And then we have people that are like, just get your stuff online. I don't really want to, get up today and get you to school. Like, that's too much. It's just not a priority for us. It doesn't really matter. You can do it online because you did it online during COVID. And so it's like just a different mindset that we're experiencing that we had never experienced before. And also we want to continue to increase discipline. Discipline means kids are out of the classroom. They're missing instruction, they're missing what they need, and we want to make sure that we're increasing that over time. So that's where we are academically. You see a little bit about our engagement, our behavior, and then this is kind of what we're here to wrestle with today. Schools were designed in a different era, and they were designed for a different purpose than they are today. But as you look at the picture, you wonder, how much has really changed? Has it kept up with the fast-paced change of what's going on in the world? So I'm gonna poll you right now and see what you think. How many of you think that our school system here in West Clermont, how many of you think we are designed more for career prep, that we are a career prep school district? Raise your hand. How many of you think that we are a college prep school district, that we are preparing kids for college, and that's what we're mostly about? And I'll have one more choice. How many of you think we are here for both, that we do both? Okay. I know, maybe it was hard for you to see since you didn't see the choices, so I don't know. It just gives you something to think about. And this data here, this is national assessment data, that tells a picture of ninth graders across the country. This is from 2018, so I imagine it's probably a little bit worse than what it tells us today. A typical ninth grader in America, in their cohort, has this to be true. 1/5 fail to complete high school on time. 1/5 graduate high school but do not proceed to college. 1/5 enroll in college but drop out. 1/5 complete college but fail to find a job requiring the degrees that they've earned. And 1/5 travel successfully through high school to college to the career of their choice, through that career pipeline. So results like these in a typical freshman cohort across our nation make it no wonder that we are at a crossroads as educators and the education system in America. And we're at a place where our businesses are saying kids are not coming out of college and school ready to do the jobs of today. So why we're here is to really consider how we bridge the gap between school and life on the outside, to close that a little bit, to make it a little more relevant and modern and purposeful for the jobs and the opportunities that our kids are going to experience. So how do we build all the pathways that we need to put in place so that kids can enroll in college or any post-secondary learning, enlist in the military, be an entrepreneur, or enroll in college? So to do this, we have to first kind of agree on something and note it, because I think over time we don't put it out there. Schools used to be designed for this: reading, writing, arithmetic. And as society has changed, as the family has changed, schools are playing a much bigger role. And we never saw this like we did under the COVID spotlight, where we found ourselves as educators working well beyond academics, where we were the central point for human connection. We were feeding kids, we were clothing kids, we were helping with hygiene needs, we were helping with just offering socialization. And so it really reminded us of the importance that we play as educators and the importance of us working together with our community. And we know that addressing chronic absenteeism and poverty and student engagement and developing healthy, active students, it's essential that we figure out together how do we knock down these barriers so that we can have more and more successful students, both inside our schools and outside the school walls. So part of your discussion tonight is to talk about the purpose and design of schools. If we're no longer just the 3 R's, and we have taken on more things as families have changed, as laws and expectations have changed, how do we make it all happen in the time we have together? So there's 4 components of this purpose and design, and you're gonna dig into these topics at your table. First, student-centered learning. I don't know if you know this, but in West Clermont, we hadn't purchased curriculum in over a decade until just a few years ago when we started investing in math. There was financial challenges in the district, and that was just something that was put on hold because there weren't enough resources to take care of it. So just a few years ago, we started with math, and now math is now in place, I guess, 2 years. Last year, we developed new science curriculum, so that is coming to the table this school year. And you're gonna see throughout the entire school year, in every grade level, there will be science projects that students are doing across and that are consistent across the entire school system. It's not you're lucky you get to go to this school and do this project, or you're lucky that you have this teacher. Depending on your grade level, there will be common expectations and common plans across the entire system. And what that will do is just continue to strengthen what we can then build on as they go through the system when they get to the middle school and the high school. And then this school year, we are evaluating English language arts. And so we have a team of teachers working with our administrators and some community members to guide that work and to put new literacy materials in the hands of every student. We have Chromebooks for all students, pre-K-12. And I will say our teachers are growing every day in their skill sets and their abilities to really understand the data, understand the kids, know their name, know their story, know their strengths and their needs, and then respond to it with higher level engagement and incorporating the science at the same time where we're learning portrait of graduate skills. We're learning literacy at the same time we're developing adaptability and resilience. And so they're doing really a phenomenal job growing that. So student-centered learning is important. And what you guys will talk about tonight is, well, what does that student-centered learning really mean? And there's a chart on your graph where you look at We're moving from this to this, the traditional model to student-centered, and what does that look like? So you'll get a chance to kind of weigh in and let us know how you think we're doing. Another component of purpose and design is the educator workforce. And I don't know if you're struggling at your place of business with people coming to work and staying engaged and staying stress-free and everything going beautifully, but we are really struggling here. Last year we had 14 open positions during the school year. And never before in education had I ever experienced a teacher quitting in the middle of the year. But we are having teachers who are quitting during the middle of the year, often leaving for higher paying job in an industry. And sometimes they're paying to then go home and work remotely instead of come to a place of business. And so the options out there for educators have really expanded, and many of them are leaving the workforce to try something new. This school year, we've already had about 4 teachers resign. And it's extremely challenging when the supply is very low. What you'll find from this data that you'll hear, the pipeline of what we normally would draw from NKU and Miami University, UC, Ohio State, you name it in our tri-state area, the pipeline for that is 800 people less. And just to give you like an image of like what does this really mean, there are 5 social studies majors for education at the Ohio State University right now. Those numbers are they just blow you away. It's not something we've ever really seen in education, or at least in my career. And so we're seeing shortages in special education specifically, but then at the same time we're seeing shortages in physical education. We learned today, universities are shutting down their physical education programming. They're not even offering it at their university. Who would have ever thought? And so the makeup of our staff and what we need to be able to recruit and to retain has become more challenging than ever. And this just gives you an idea of why people are leaving the profession. Some are leaving because leaving West Clermont. Some are leaving because they're leaving the profession. Some are retiring, some are moving closer to home, some have family issues or whatever, either maybe taking care of elderly parents or taking care of their own children. There's a whole wide range. There's no big, massive one reason. There's a lot of different things that is challenging our workforce. We also have, as purpose and design, just a reminder that our teachers are amazing. What they do here is really incredible. They invest their own money in our school system. They love our kids. They go above and beyond. I would put this staff up against any staff that there is out there. They are truly incredible. But what they're finding is, it's kind of like a square peg in a round hole. The way the school day works and the way we spend our time and the resources that we have don't all support and facilitate the kind of collaboration we need and the autonomy that we need. And teachers kind of working in isolation by themselves in a classroom where you just kind of shut your door, those days are gone. We need to be you probably experienced this at your work, where you're very collaborative and working with one another on different projects. Teaching can be very isolating, and there's no way one person can serve the plethora of needs that our students have today. And so we've got to take some of our outdated systems and update those. We also have learning environment. I'm gonna hit this quickly because this is gonna be the discussion really of the entire school year. Luckily, we are standing here in renovated to new Clough Pike Elementary, and man, is it amazing and how far that it's come. But we still have some schools in our district that hasn't gotten the attention that Clough has gotten. We have Merwin Elementary, Holly Hill Elementary, West Clermont Middle School, who haven't been updated or renovated to this level. They've had some updates in them, but nothing like this, and nothing like a brand new school. So you can see here a timeline of when our schools were built. So the older schools are from either the 80s or the 60s. Our newest schools, like the oldest new school is from 2010. So we are very, very blessed and have state-of-the-art amazing facilities in our school. But what's happening over time is that we're growing, we're steadily growing. We're not crazy growing, we're just steadily growing. And one of the significant things that are happening is that we're growing in our population of special education and diverse learners. And so what that ends up meaning from a facility standpoint is a room that you planned for 30 children or 25 children is serving 4. And then another room is you planned it for 25 or 30 and it's serving 4 or 6 or 8. And so it's causing us to have to spread out faster then we can even see straight. And as an example, since the beginning of school, we've had an additional 87, 88, I'm gonna mess up the number, but somewhere in there, between 87 and 89 new special education students move into the school. So we're growing at a very rapid rate that's affecting how our facilities are being used. In addition, we are growing as a school system, and you can see that as you see bulldozers and trees down and things happening throughout our community. So it's very, very exciting, the opportunity to have a diverse student population. It's just we have to really be careful about, we're kind of squeezed in here. Kevin would tell you, he's kind of squeezed in here at Clough Pike, like little sardines sometimes. We're having to be very creative with our space. And so we as a community have to really look at this to say, okay, what is our best short and long-term plan for our students? And how do we make sure that we provide a modern learning experience for every kid? And then finally, community partnerships. Kind of gone are the days where, when my mom was the room mom, you know, you come in and do some games and you drop off some cupcakes and it's a great day. We need that, we love that, of course, it's awesome. But no longer is that level of partnership enough to help us sustain all the things that we need to provide for our students. And so we have to grow beyond traditional PTOs and booster organizations and pizza and t-shirts. We need partnerships of people that come in and help us serve our students medically, serve our students mentally, serve our students with basic needs. And we've been able to make some gains. We were able to get a grant to be able to provide resource coordinators for our students. And so we have a team of social workers who are working embedded inside of our system, helping to connect our families to resources. We just met last week at the high school. We had TQL, we had Purina, we had American Modern, and Jurgensen, and UC Clermont, and probably 7 or 8 more, I can't remember right this second. Groups of people that have come in to partner with us that are going to allow our seniors, by the time they get to January, to have a job or a co-op inside of their companies. And so we are preparing kids with training like Lean 6 and Sigma 6 and Lean training and professional skills to give our kids the competitive advantage. That's the kind of partnerships I'm talking about. And so we're growing those little by little by little. So to recap for you guys, we're changing at a fast rate. Our students are different, our world is different. In West Clermont, we're facing many challenges, and we are overcoming many of them. Our staff's incredible, but many challenges. Our performance is improving, and yet we still have room to grow. We know we can be better. We leapfrogged over 28 schools districts this year in our performance in just 1 year. So we are making incredible gains. We know we can do better. And we want to make sure that we have future-ready graduates as we move forward, and that we have a design and purpose for our school that matches what they need. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to your tables to say, okay, community, what kind of schools do we want? What kind of learning experiences do we want for our students? Hopefully this got you thinking, and I hope you enjoy the conversation.
Okay, you guys, make sure you got your name tags if you had to do that, and coaches, our facilitators, please make sure you introduce yourself to your tables, and we'll get at this. And you've got the first section, which will be 10 minutes.
Okay, so yes, you got good.
Dr. Ray, just in case, there's one for you to share your
It's
extra.
always a delight to see you. Oh, there. like it was cheaper, it was more accessible, and I think it was more that parents were teaching their kids to drive and they were driving. Now we know that driving it costs a lot of money. So what people are saying it costs more to have a car, have insurance. Like it seems like a more expensive experience. So I think a lot of kids maybe have financial barriers. They're not doing driving first, we're catered to older kids. Which I don't believe is real. Like that's cute. Yeah, it is. It is. Very yeah, and it's the dimension of love, which is kind of the opposite. And that's really probably why. And on the ride,
Superintendent's opening statement provided a big picture overview of the current reality facing education. What is the one main thing that stands out to you relevant information to student experience?
About fifth grade. Rethink that.
Superintendent's opening statement provided a big picture overview of the current realities facing education and our stakeholders. What is the one main thing that stands out to you as relevant information to students' experience?
Kind of like what she was saying about like the CPR. Very sweet. Got some goodies in there. One of the students said, because he just didn't want to drive. And then there's some other things. So many I've had 4 jobs. Yeah, I think it started for this generation. I mean, society, where was and I've had, like jobs probably, so like it started a few years ago now. And then like they're starting to learn, like I'm gonna go to this job and they're gonna pay me this much, and then I'm gonna go here because they're gonna pay me more, and I'm gonna go back there because now they're gonna buy me more. So instead of staying in the same position, they're kind of.
We are moving on to B, which is 15 minutes. 15 minutes for our next section.
Anything worth reason so students make sure that our students are successful participants in our society. But one thing that students need to know to be able to do in order to be successful in society and for their school is a group identify the knowledge, skills, and abilities that students need to possess to be successful, whether it's student roles, personality, entrepreneurial opportunities, rapidly changing landscape, or carry these characteristics of a successful journey for our
Independent in a way, like the one thing that still amazes. I mean, I'm kind of in this country, but that's differently in other countries. But
A lot of those jobs that are going to be constantly rejected. It's more bouncing ideas. Kind of got trapped out on that one.
Everybody, so my worry is I don't want to force kids that want to work for different reasons, and then be now forced because we have to. We all have to do this as a group. Like I would be more interested in maybe more open and exploring different ways of learning. Maybe if it's an essay, but then get harder because they show one thing and they solve for another one, but being more creative with the way they're working. Make it a difference.
writing on the card. Look at the portrait of the graduate image and top right on the visual. Describe what you see. Be sure to read the text.
I mean, and I'm not saying they need more consultant skills. That's what I've realized. They just
Layers across the back in front of the CV. Have someone locate these on the aisle. All right, I'm moving on.
Collect, assess, analyze.
And that's just me as an educator, right? Kids like collaborative situations to where if you have one child this week, and the other one's there, they can kind of help them with the considerations. So I've always done something like that. I kind of get a free pass on the last one.
This one is innovation, creative,
Period.
carefully consider and respect others' ideas and contributions, practice, collaborate, taking it all and like key to resolve challenges and achieve goals, articulate thoughts and express ideas effectively and using every individual, non-verbal, and non-verbal communication.
demonstrate empathy, compassion, respect for others, act responsibly, and rely on them.
Oh, no.
That's got it covered.
You did.
Why is focus on devastating all learning and transit all the way up to the experience? Explain your answer. Like habits, lifestyles, skills, and things that they learn here that apply in the outside world.
We're going to move on to C. We're on to C. 15 minutes.
Move forward. We set our bearings right here where we are now. Us, Clermont, implements an instrument and on the car's dashboard. Instrument gauges the driver about the car performance, where they are, their speed, the distance traveled, remaining to do it, 11 or more. As reference, our good for light across the center of the metro. West Clermont Performance Indicators card deck is presented by Superintendent
Where we are located the WC performance instrument panel in a car's dashboard. Gauges in a car.
Is there any official testing?
Where they are.
I don't remember getting the
Distance traveled, remaining fuel, daycare, before she went to kindergarten.
when I was getting around their lunch being there, like there's the testing that they went through. Where do you think of like where did that number come from?
As you view these cars,
When they are here.
air testing.
The reports, if they are, the reports are not being shared with parents. Where is my kid? Is she on this side of the
and then this one about the young techniques. So right now, our attendance
Yep. Student discipline. Student behavior is correlated to student achievement goals. Students who receive disciplinary action for their behavior. About 20%.
So that's saying, okay.
Sure, those are instructions. So these are unscripted. Yeah, that's true.
It does sound like they hold that percentage.
That's the whole K-12. The people that break down
It does, on some of them.
I'm sure that you put it up against other districts or state
Yeah, there's a lot that are like, you know.
Not that we can get better.
Yeah, again, for sure. It just, yeah, sometimes like, prices by like, if you're buying a house, like, you know, what's the deal with the real stuff? It's like, what is the school district? Right. And then, but then next to it, it's like, well, this is your taxes, and then there's the school district. And you go to a place that's higher taxes, are we gonna have a stronger work? So it's like, you know, there's a lot of things that go hand in hand.
I know quite a bit about it. In high school.
I don't know like what the right thing to say is. I am looking to like house in Springfield. And when I look at the listings, I see it's like the score is 8 or 7 out of 10. And then I look at the at the Western, it's like 5, 4. It's like wow. I didn't know there's such a big difference. And, I mean, where is this difference? I mean, the difference comes from how is it? Yeah, exactly. I was like, are you really that bad?
No, I think it has a lot of base. You have a very diverse population, socioeconomic population. This school is bring where you do not. And it's a much smaller area. Anytime you have a smaller area, it's easier to control and maintain.
What makes sense?
It's not just there. What I would think that's
Right? Yeah. The rates of war.
oh yeah, I had Sister Sandy. So the school, you've got that type of learning. They're not going to be this stuff is the discipline stuff. We still got a lot more good time. What is
There's a lot that goes into it that schools like, for my son has ADHD in kindergarten. 90%, maybe I'm mixed it, maybe it was. But he was there on the first day basis for everyone I could because that's how my son was. Because he could sit still, he could, he could keep himself, like, he was undiagnosed with diarrhea, so we were able to get him diagnosed, get him treatment, get him all the kind of things, but it all, like, suddenly, I think, that's all, like, he's all this for this thing, because he was most of the class day, and he was the tackle golfer instead of so that, there's a lot of data to it, it's not just this and this, but it's like, there's a lot of, when you have computers like this, the percentage of students to be, it just gets worse.
That's what it is. Like, it's included in that. Digging out.
Okay, let's go. Locating onward and upward investments build. At the bottom section is your professional results and
Onward and upward investments will sort at the bottom center of your visual. Absolutely read all of your professional building.
All
provided a needed boost not only for our employees, but also the resources for the district as well. This would be that knowledge training to create a system. In your opinion, which of these investments are making a positive impact for student success and is creating an engaging students for future
The slide. I went ahead and fixed it because I don't want to go over
School districts and communities across America realize that professional especially
D, fortifying the future focus. School districts and Groups vary, and my dog was like this, and the tables are anytime, Okay, so which of these transitions do you believe have made the most progress? Which do you believe has I think this has made progress, this has made some progress. I think, I mean, this one has not made progress because you differentiate when it comes to the test. It's the same test every day. No, we're trying to decipher.
The fall of these came up to be been put upon
So the first four, you say we made progress on. The fifth one and the sixth one, we're making some progress with that. And then we're going to make points. And knowing like that we got work better along with the students, work better in the we're doing these
Yep.
There's a lot of pressure on the teachers. I keep the I ready test now.
You have to like it.
see some of us moving on. We're going to be moving on to E, which is 10 minutes. And we really need your feedback on this. And what you'll find is the successful journey card. So please make sure that you guys fill that out as well, because that will give us a lot of information. In section E, we got about 10 minutes, and we really need your feedback on the successful journey card. So we are in the home stretch.
Student success is in the context of their success
Never mind my condition.
and memorization, experiences, and personal application. Get the change readiness and speed of change curve. All right.
Student success is important to ready to believe you are to change students model. It's hard to read. Know everything.
Better slow and ride fast than wrong. Exactly. So I would stick to the moderate. It's also about finance, not like then funding and going down. So we're not gonna be, wrapping things up and increasing.
Question one. What is at risk? I don't think
So we are continually filling out the successful journey cards. Christy's going to come around and collect all of the notes as well as your responses. So we will collect those from you when you are finished. So when we are in our final activity, we want to thank you for coming tonight. We really appreciate your feedback as well. We have a gift bag for all of you when you leave, so pick that up on your way out. I think there's even a West Clermont coffee mug in there. You don't want to miss that. So please fill those out. We'll collect those from you when you are finished. Facilitators, you can put everything back in your box, except for the response forms and the notes. Those go to Christy.
There was something about
I'm all about it.
We'll take anything that you have rewriting on. I'll take that. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Anything to write?
I'm excited to see the middle school students. Are you guys gonna be there? Are you guys for the games?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm on pictures, so I go to every school. It's so fun.
You should write that on there. We need one in the elementary. They don't need that. They don't.
I know they
Yeah, the middle school.
doesn't matter